Kia ora, folks. Welcome to the fucking Woo Woo podcast. My name's Tommy. I'm I gotta make this faster, eh? I gotta fucking make this thing faster. I'm a medicine person. I'm a father. I'm a therapist. My name's Tommy. I'm here to help. That's what I'm gonna say from now on. Kia ora, folks. Welcome to the fucking Woo Woo podcast. My name's Tommy. I'm here to help. Boom. That's it. That's good. I like that. I'm here to fucking help if I can. Not from some lofty height, like, I'm gonna be your teacher. Hey, look, I like this t-shirt. It's fucking Stevie Nicks. It says, back to the gypsy that I was. And then I looked at the camera and realized that it's cropped out. And I'm like, well, the t-shirt doesn't make sense, just back to the hat. But, you know, I like the t-shirt. Hey, today I'm gonna tell you guys the fucking, the real truth about reality. No, I'm not. I'm going to tell you, I've already attempted that. I don't think anyone believed me. Today I'm going to tell you about smoking. My experience with smoking, not your experience with smoking. Okay, so here's the deal. I was born nicotine dependent. My mother smoked through my pregnancy. She smoked in the house, in the car, through my entire life. Don't get fucking mad at my mum. This was the fucking 80s. Back in the 80s, you were allowed to. Back in the 80s, smoking didn't harm anybody. Back in the 80s, the government was still, well, not the government, well, basically the government, the tobacco companies who had lobbied and paid for the government were still putting out messaging that smoking was fine. And so, you know, unbeknownst to her, she was, you know, I was nicotine dependent. She gave up smoking after she got sober. And once she got sober, by the way, folks, she stayed sober. So she was an incredible role model to me. And I'm going to talk about my journey of recovery at some point as well. But we're just going to focus on the tobacco aspect today. So she got sober when I was 12. So I guess she gave up cigarettes when I was about 13. Anyway, I tried cigarettes. So basically what I'm saying is the entirety of my life, I was nicotine dependent. I would have started smoking I would have started smoking myself a few months after she gave up smoking. So I would have had a few months of being nicotine free, and kind of probably craving it and not knowing it. Probably mum just thought I was grumpy because I was a teenager or something. And then my friend said to me, we were on school camp, third form school camp, and we were like, why you guys fucking smoke cigarettes, you fucking idiots? You should smoke weed. You should smoke marijuana. And they were like, nah, it's nice for the head rush. And I was like, excuse me? It's like, what? This shit comes with a head rush? Because I tried it twice, like, I think when I was 10 and 11, and I didn't get any fucking head rush. And me and my buddy Puck, I think me and Puck, my friends had the coolest names, man. Check out my friends' names. Sven, Shannon, Puck, Finn, Emlyn. Like, the boys just had the coolest fucking names at my school, man. That's how you know it was a hippie school. My best friend was Puck. And him and me tried smoking a couple times. Me and Finn, one time we thought maybe we should roll up cobwebs. Maybe we found a new drug. And I think when we were 11, we stole some zigzag papers, some rolling papers, and rolled up cobwebs and had a few smokes of them. His dad caught us, and I don't think he was very impressed. I think he thought there was more than just cobwebs. I think he was overly concerned. Anyway, smoking cobwebs. Oh yeah, I think I'm going to throw up. That's so gross. This is what kids do, eh? These rites of passage. So just harmless fun. We could have smoked a whole lot worse, right? Like all of our parents were smoking weed every night. Like, we could have been smoking a whole much worse than fucking cobwebs. Anyway, so these girls go, oh no, you get a head rush from it. And when I tried it at 10 and 11, I didn't get any head rush. And I was like, tell me more about this head rush. And they were like, well, you get this like nice buzz and things feel funny. And I was like, fucking give me one of those cigarettes. And I swear to God, I was like, this is like, I don't know why it didn't work the first time. Probably, do you guys does everyone know the term bum puff? I probably, without getting any in my lung, I probably didn't get any nicotine. When I had that fucking puff of that cigarette and I smoked it properly up on that, we were up on sand dunes. We're up on these giant sand dunes, like, and I mean giant sand dunes. I'm not talking like large sand dunes. I'm talking like 100 meter, like the length of a rugby field to get to the bottom. And I fucking smoked it, and I was like, this is fucking amazing. I took like 4 big puffs and then ran down the sand dune fucking on this big nicotine buzz, and I fucking loved it, man, and that was it. And the cool thing about it was, what I decided was I wouldn't be a fucking idiot like all the other smokers. I would just smoke for fun. I wasn't going to get addicted. I was just going to have it to get the head rush. And if I ever got addicted, I'd stop, of course, because why would you get addicted to something? That would be fucking foolish, right? You'd have to be a fucking idiot to get addicted to cigarettes. So probably within a couple of weeks, I was fully addicted to cigarettes, and now I'm fucking 13, and I have to try and get like 40. Back then, it would have been $40 a week to fund my habit, but it didn't stay $40 for long. And how the fuck is a 13-year-old going to get $40? You know what I mean? You can't. I couldn't even steal cigarettes off my mum because she'd already fucking given up. I don't know how I did it. I probably got $20 pocket money. I probably needed to get another $20 worth of money just for my cigarettes. Anyway, I can't tell you month by month of the journey, right? We'll just skip forward to I get clean at 17, and then about a year later, I decide, fuck this. I don't want any addictions in my life. I'm going to give up. And I give up, and I lasted for about 9 months. And then I think I relapsed over the holidays, maybe the summer holidays or something. Not because I was sad or upset or being self-destructive, just like the excitement of summer or something. Maybe I was heading down south or whatever. I spent all my summers heading down south with my friends, and we'd go to these beautiful towns like Takaka, Nelson, Motueka. Maraho became my personal favorite. In fact, I'll tell you the story of Maraho the day I met Maraho, the night, in fact, I met Maraho in another podcast. Anyway, and then what would basically happen for the next about 7 years, until I was from about 18 till 25 approximately, I would give up cigarettes for about 10 months or 11 months every year. I was non-smoker, wouldn't have a single puff, and then I would relapse. I would go overseas on a psychotherapy conference, and I would, as soon as I get on the plane, I would relapse, or there'd be some exciting thing coming up, and I'd relapse, and I'd smoke for about a month, make myself absolutely sick. Oh, and just so you know, every time I'd give up cigarettes, because I knew there was a strong association with coffee, I'd give up caffeine at the same time. So I'd always give the two of them up together, caffeine and nicotine. And I'd always start them again. So as soon as I'd start smoking again, I'd be fucking sculling back Red Bulls and shit like that. And anyway, so yeah, that lasted about 7 years. And I would do all the standard tricks. I would read Alan Carr's The Easy Way to Stop Smoking. I would... one of the things that was really effective was I saw this film called Thank You, I think it was Thank You for Smoking, or Thank You for Not Smoking, I can't remember. And it just showed you how evil the fucking tobacco company was. And that one might have been my final one, maybe, where I was like, nah, even that one didn't last. Actually, that was only a 10-month or 11-month one, where I was like, fuck you, tobacco company. And every time I'd think about smoking, I'd be like, fuck that. Giving up smoking is an act of rebellion, you know what I mean? Giving up smoking is like fucking raging against the machine. Like, in my mind, I was being rebellious by breaking this intergenerational pattern. And but nothing worked permanently. And then I went overseas. And then I gave up with the mother of my kids. Her and I gave up together, and that was pretty solid. And I lasted about a year, and then I did a trip to LA, London, and New York. It was like my last chance of doing some music stuff. Maybe something will happen. There was meant to be a couple of showcases, and we recorded a video clip, and I was playing a little festival and stuff. I had a beautiful time. And as soon as I fucking went through customs, I wasn't planning this at all. But as soon as I got through customs, I was looking around customs and I thought, I'll buy 550 grams. 550 grams of tobacco is enough to smoke, 20 cigarettes a day for at least 5 or 6 weeks. And that was how I'd always relapse. I never, by the way, guys, when I would relapse on cigarettes, I wouldn't have one cigarette or have a puff. I would go out and buy a packet or a pouch. I knew I was committed for at least a month, if not longer. And I was only gone for 10 days, 2 weeks. I was gone for 2 weeks, and I knew that I couldn't bring that back to my partner. I knew that wouldn't be fair, and that she would bust with me, or that she would be really upset. And so I didn't. I mean, obviously I told her about it. I was never planning on lying about it. I don't know if I told her immediately. I might have waited a week and said, just so you know, this thing happened back then. I don't know what I did, but anyway. And then her and me stayed off for, I think 14 years. I think 15 years I was off tobacco. I can't remember exactly. Somewhere between 13 and 15 years. And then I'm at an ayahuasca ceremony. And the ayahuasca ceremonies I'd sat at before had always been Shipibo style. Ayahuasca, just for those who don't know, is an incredibly strong psychedelic, which is pretty much only used in ritual context. I'll tell you my story with ayahuasca another day where I'll go into that more, because how I even allowed myself after 20 years clean and sober to be in an ayahuasca ceremony is kind of an interesting story. So I'll leave that for another day. But ayahuasca is a very strong psychedelic that pretty much you only use. It doesn't really have a recreational use. It can only really be used in ceremonial context. Just because of the nature of how it works and how it feels, you don't really take that shit to festivals. So I was with the shaman having this ceremony. And I'd been to 2 Shipibo style ceremonies already. And this was... Anyway, oh yeah, this is like my 3rd, 4th, and 5th ceremonies, I think, and they were with a woman they were with a female shaman who ran things very differently from the Shipibo style, and part of the way she runs ceremonies was this thing called hàpe or ràpe, and that's a plant medicine, not from Brazil, not from Peru, but from Brazil. The Brazilian tribes there, and what they do is they turn tobacco into a powder, tobacco. Which I often refer to as Mapacho, because that's the Native American name for it. Some of the tribes call it Mapacho, and then hàpe was the form of it, and the plant medicine, the master plant being Mapacho, and then the name of this particular way of using it, ràpe or hàpe, and she blew it up my nose, and it doesn't feel nice. Like first time you try it doesn't feel nice, but after a little while. Anyway, so she blows up my nose. Whoa, it was looking crazy. And then she's like, during the ceremony, does anyone want any more hàpe? And you know, with ayahuasca, there tends to be a little bit of nausea for most people, and a bit of throwing up, a bit of purging. And I was like, fuck no, I don't want any hàpe. But then the next night, I sat with her again a month later or something, and I was like, you know, before the ceremony, she wants everyone to try it, and I tried it, and I was like, fuck yeah. And then I think during the ceremony, I was feeling sick, and I couldn't purge. And she said, if you're sick during the ceremony, you can't purge, we'll give you hàpe and it'll help you purge. And she gave it to me, and it was like, hàpe without being on ayahuasca is quite an intense experience. Some people should try and do like a karakia to start the ceremony holding hands, and people would be so covered in sweat and lightheaded after the hàpe that they'd had like 15 minutes earlier that they couldn't even stand there doing the opening circle. You know what I mean? It's quite a strong medicine, even if you don't have tobacco. It kind of feels like a nicotine head rush, but it lasts longer. And it's much more earthy, much more grounding. And she said that the point of it was to get you in touch with your ancestors, with your whakapapa, your tipuna, or your guides. I just found it cleared my mind, and I could sit and meditate. This is before I learned to meditate. I could sort of sit in meditation in a way that I hadn't been able to before. And anyway, after 3 ceremonies with her over the space of like 3 months, I was like, wow, I could have a whole new relationship with tobacco where I don't get addicted. Like, I could have this beautiful sacred relationship and I'd never get addicted. That would be amazing. And so and just so you know, tobacco in Tabaquito, Mapacho, in Native American culture, it's a really sacred medicine, and it's called the first medicine. And anyone who works with wachuma, with cactuses or other plant medicines, will work with tobacco. And there's different ways of doing it. It's not all blown up your nose, but the peace pipe, all these different things. But it is considered like a master plant, and it's called the first medicine. And the whole concept of medicine in the culture, the way it's been explained to me, I'm certainly no expert authority on North American or South American indigenous culture by any means, and apologize, aroha mai, if I'm saying anything incorrectly, but this is the way it's been taught to me by people who certainly do have a right to express this. Whether my memory has adequately recalled it to give you guys the information is another matter. I apologize if I've gotten any of these details wrong, but you can Google a story of White Buffalo Medicine Woman, and White Buffalo Medicine Woman is I won't tell the story. I feel like it's not my story to tell, but White Buffalo Medicine Woman brought plant medicines to the Native American people, tobacco being the first medicine, and yeah, I have a picture of her on my wall. That story is beautiful to me, and it's a story I'll often tell people I'm working with, not to encourage them. Not to encourage them to take tobacco. Anyway, I thought I'm going to have this new relationship with hàpe, this sacred relationship with tobacco. So a friend we make a pipe together. He shows me how to make a pipe. He tells me how to use the hàpe. I sit with him sort of once a week for a few weeks having a hàpe. And I ask him, how many times a week do you have it? He says, well, about once a week. And I think to myself, okay, well, I'll have it about once a week then, And probably within a couple months, I'm having it every day, blowing this stuff up my nose every day. And probably within 4 months, I'm having it 3 or 4 times a day. And this whole time I'm bargaining. Oh, I'm just going to have it on the weekends. I'm just going to have it once a week, twice a week, and I'll cut down and I'll stop. And so then for 5 days, I won't have any. And then I have it on Saturday, and then I have it on Sunday. And then, I may as well just have it on Monday, and then I'll stop for the rest of the week. Just immediately, right? Like fucking immediately. And then, like, I get to a point, I'm having it like 6 or 7 times a day. Like, I can't smell anything. My newborn baby is born, my last baby, the last chance I'm going to have to smell my own newborn baby. The first year of her life, I'm hooked on this shit. I never get to smell her head. You guys might not, people who haven't had kids will be like, why do you want to smell a baby's head? Trust me, especially if it's your baby, you want to smell that head, man. And, yeah, and I never really got to smell it. And I'm fucking and it's sacred, right? Like these experiences of having the medicine. I have these, little bit. Sometimes I have realizations. Sometimes I have this beautiful feeling, but more and more the realization is you don't need hàpe. That's more and more the lesson I'm getting, And yeah, and I'm bummed out because I wanted it to be spiritual. I wanted it to be sacred this time. I didn't want it to be this fucking addiction shit. And there's some beautiful stuff, about like some beautiful indigenous people said some interesting things at this MAPS conference. MAPS is this kind of organization for psychedelic assisted therapy, and has done amazing work and amazing studies. But these indigenous people kind of took over the stage at one of their conferences and said, hey, look, guys, we don't feel really properly included in this mahi you're doing. We don't feel like you're taking indigenous teachings and indigenous methodologies and respecting us and our intellectual property and the fact that we've worked with these medicines for thousands of years. We don't feel that respected in terms of this conference, how prioritized the way we should be. And this and there was like 3 or 4 different speakers, and this guy said, he goes, the Western world took tobacco and you took cocaine, and he might have said another one that I can't remember, and he goes, and you didn't follow our practices, and you didn't take our wisdom, and you didn't include us. You just took it and you colonized it. How did that work out for you guys? And I just thought that fucking sums it up, because the indigenous people working with tobacco, they weren't having these lung cancer and emphysema issues. You know what I mean? That's not what's happening for indigenous people. I'm not saying nowadays. Obviously, if you look at Native American populations, just like if you look at any indigenous population, or most working class population, regardless of race for that matter, tobacco is a fucking killer. And that doesn't discriminate. That is happening to Native Americans now too. But there's not a history of that in traditional use. And anyway, but for me, I don't seem to be able to have that luxury. I seem to be this Western model of tobacco where I'm completely fucking hooked. And I think I give up at one point. I'm always giving up. I'm always trying to give up, always trying to cut down, always trying to control it. It's just a classic metaphor for what my fucking drug use was like, right? And so eventually I'm like, fuck it, I can't do it. And I think so I gave up for a few months. Then I decide, I'm just going to have the odd cigarette or vape when I play concerts or when I go to other people's concerts. So there's this group here, this cool group in Raumati called the Seaside Sloths, and another group called Simloco. These cool fucking local bands. And whenever they play, they get me to jump up and freestyle hip hop with them. And so I'd go to all their concerts and have a couple of cigarettes, and then I'd do this and have a couple of cigarettes. So I'm doing this. It gets to the point with this couple of cigarettes where now on a Saturday, I'm looking for things to do so I can have a couple of cigarettes. It gets to a point a little bit later where I leave my children, this is really hard to say, I leave my children in an indoor playground. I leave them in an indoor playground without telling them I'm going. Maybe I said I'm going to the toilet. Maybe I lied to them. I go outside to look for a stranger on the street in Porirua who I can scab a cigarette from, who I can beg a cigarette from. I beg a woman for a cigarette. She says, you can, I think she goes inside to get me one. Like, so I'm out there for like 10 minutes. I come back. One of my children is crying. My youngest child, Shiloh, is crying. Cassidy's looking at me like with just fucking disgust. Where were you? Where did you go? We didn't know where you were. Shiloh was crying. That should have been enough, right? That should have been the end of it. Nah. And I'm fucking 21, 22 years clean from drugs at this point, right? Like, I've been in recovery for 22 years. I've been taking plant medicine. I've been taking sacred plant medicine and working on myself and my issues for like a year or two at this point. Guys, the tobacco fucking story carries on for another 2-3 fucking years. It's crazy. I'm just going to vape then because it's not going to block my nose. And I'll just vape in the weekends, and inevitably I'm vaping every day. Oh, I'll just have cigarettes because cigarettes are gross and smell bad, and I don't want to smoke cigarettes. I'll be able to stick to them just on the weekends, and then I'm smoking cigarettes every day. I'll just have it at ceremonies. I'll only have hàpe at ceremonies. I'll only fucking do this at ceremonies. Every fucking bargaining, negotiating. The last year I was with my partner, if not the whole time I was with my partner, but certainly the last year, I think when I met my partner, the one I recently separated from, I just had thought, fuck it, and I was just vaping every day, and I was vaping in front of my kids, and there were no more secrets and no more lies. I'm just fucking fully hooked, and I'm not going to pretend anymore. And then I gave up at some point. Oh yeah, then I had this incredible, powerful ceremony. I had this ceremony, which was so hard, which was just grueling nausea, just such intense nausea. And I was vaping at the time. And I went outside. I used to do this thing before I'd go to bed with a vape. I'd have like 60 mgs. I had the strongest nicotine you could have, and I would suck on it until the vape would turn off. And then I would lie back. Sometimes I'd have basically like anxiety attacks, panic attacks. Like, it was so strong, it would make me think I was having a heart attack. I did that every night for about a year or two. And I went outside, and it was showing me that I inherited this addiction from my mum. This is a generational thing. I've inherited this thing, and it showed me how tobacco, the way I use it, the way the West use it, is completely linked in the constant dramas between men and women. This addiction keeps alive, makes possible this constant conflict because it's a buffer to pain. It suppresses pain a little bit. It gives you a little bit of satisfaction, so you don't actually address what's going on in your life. You just run away from it. It's a constant little dopamine hit. And I could see how I was going to pass this on to my kids, and I had to be the one to break the cycle. And I went out there and I said, I'm done. I'll never smoke again. And they said, no, you won't. No, you won't, my friend. And to prove it, you're going to do one of those big hits that you do on your vape. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing that. I'll have hàpe on ayahuasca. I am not going to fucking take a hit on my vape. And it also showed me, oh my God, it showed me how beautiful tobacco was. Like Mapacho came to me as this beautiful angelic entity and said, I'm here on this planet for healing. What are you doing with this fucking vape? Do you think that respects me? Do you think that fucking honors me? You blow tobacco on your arms in a sacred ritual way, and then you sneak out of the fucking temple to fucking puff on your vape. Like, don't fucking pretend you and me are friends, Tommy. Like, you've not been a friend to me. You dishonor me. I was like, I'm so sorry. And I could see the damage of this fucking thing, and I just I'm never doing it again. And they said, okay, we'll pull out your fucking vape. No, I can't do that. I was like, do it. You're going to do it till it's fucking done. And I pulled out my vape and I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'll just give up. I don't need to do one last time. Fuck that one last time shit. And they were like, no, you're going to do it. And I hooned on that fucking vape for, I don't know, 10 seconds, 60 fucking migs until the fucking light goes out. And, just so you know, ayahuasca is a very strong psychedelic. Ayahuasca is not like it's not like tripping on acid. It's not like smoking a joint. Ayahuasca is very strong. To have that kind of fully toxic nicotine head rush and the sensitivity that you have to things, like, fucking hell, it was the most disgusting experience of my life. There was nothing pleasant about it. It wasn't like one last hoon. It was like gross. And I fucking ran under this tree and put my hands in the earth and just purged and apologized. And I was just saying, I'm sorry, Mapacho. I'm sorry, Mapacho. I'm sorry, Tommy. I'm sorry, Cassidy. I'm sorry, Shiloh. I'm sorry, Magnolia. And that should have been it. That should have been it. That was enough. But, you know, a few ceremonies later, I decided, well, I'll just have hàpe and ceremonies again, of course. I'll just have hàpe and ceremonies. And then I'm hooked on hàpe again. I was only doing it once a week. And then it was, I'll just have vaping once a week. This is like a year or two, like, I don't know. Endless, man. Fucking endless. So 5 months ago, I have spent 2 years on my morning walks. Every morning walk, pretty much all I'm talking about is tobacco, wanting to give up tobacco. And I've tried now another 5 or 6 times since the amazing ayahuasca ceremony I told you about, 5 or 6 times to stop completely, and I can't stop completely. And there's nothing I can do now, because I know that every morning walk where I used to talk about spirit or consciousness or God or relationships or interesting things, I'm now, all I can talk about is fucking tobacco. It's all I can talk about now. And I want it gone. But I will still want to be able to do it at parties, and I want this and I want that. And I'm like, you know, I have this realization where it's like, the only way I can be free from this is if I never ever have it again. Not maybe at ceremonies have a bit of hàpe, you know, not just when I play gigs, not just like nothing at all. Like I did the first time when I gave up for fucking 13 years. I've got to give up forever, completely. And in my mind, there's no fucking back door. And I've known this, right? I've tried this already many times in the previous 4 years that I got hooked again. Like it's like, but nothing works and nothing's going to work because I keep fucking up. And I'm fucking desperate because I don't want to spend the next 2 years every time I go on a walk, instead of talking about interesting shit, I'm just talking about this fucking prison I'm in. And I don't want to be in a fucking prison. And I'm trying to break free and I can't fucking get out. I felt fucking desperate, almost as desperate as I felt about giving up drugs. It's not lost on me that tobacco is a drug, by the way, but I just distinguish because, I guess because AA and NA distinguish, you know. Paul Bill Wilson, the founder of AA, fucking died of emphysema. He smoked the entire time, and he created the most successful approach to fucking giving up drugs. Yeah. Anyway, so I plan when I'm going to give up again, and I'm like, and I go out walking, and I'm so inspired, and I'm so committed, and I'm going to get through it no matter how hard it is, because I'd done a false attempt just literally 2 months earlier. And like maybe 6 weeks earlier, and it only lasted a week. And this time I'm like, no matter what, like if I go into a fucking year of depression, I'd rather that. And so I fucking go out walking, and I say, and I think, fuck, I know what I need to do. And so I say, and so one of the aspects, one of the internal kind of children, or the internal aspects of me I talk about, is the inner addict. And I say to him, hey bro, I need your help. I need your help. And this is the first time I ever did kind of, there's a type of psychotherapy called Gestalt psychotherapy. I think it comes from Gestalt. Anyway, it's called 2-chair work, where you sit in one chair and then you go and sit in the other chair, being your mother, and then you sit as yourself in the other chair, and then you sit back as your mother and you have a conversation. Now, I don't normally do that with my inner children when I'm talking to different aspects of self. I'm just walking or sitting or meditating or whatever, and they just talk back and forth, normally out loud through my mouth, sometimes internally, but more likely out loud. But I don't normally sit here and then sit there. But this night, out on the path, I did. And so I said, hey addict, I need your fucking help tonight. I really need your help. He's like, yeah, what can I do for you, Tommy? I'm not going to do that every time, but it's back and forth like that. And I go, I know it's your job. I know it's your job to always say more, to say you always want more. I totally fucking get it. But here's the deal. I need you to help me, because I can't do this. I've been trying to do this for fucking years. I can't give up. I'm fucked, but I'm miserable. It's driving me crazy. I need your help. Will you help me? Will you convince all the other aspects of me? Because I don't know how many fucking dudes are in there. I'm like, will you help me? Will you convince them that we're going to do it for real this time? We're going to do it forever this time. Will you help me? And he just starts crying, man. And he says, Tommy, I'm so sorry. He says, Tommy, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Tommy. And I said, hey, man, I love you. I'm not mad at you. But I am asking for your help. I don't need your sorry. I need your help. Will you help me? He says, yes, I'll help you. I'll do whatever it takes. And I said, thank you, because I'm going to need you to be on board. If you're not on board, this thing doesn't work. I need your help. And this time I'm doing it forever. This time I'm fucking doing it for keeps. And he's like, I'll help you. I'll help you. And so I pray to Mapacho, Great Spirit Mapacho. I say, look, I love you. I love you so much. And I have enjoyed the full range of your products down here on Earth in space-time. But we both know that I do you no favors and I cannot honor you using you in the physical. I'm asking, will you please release me? And I will release you. We'll let go of each other. And then I will use you in the energetic, in the spiritual, in the sacred. You will be a force that I call on to work with the people I work with. But I will no longer imbibe you in any form. Will you please do that for me, Grandfather Tobacco? And that was it. That was my prayer. And that wasn't fucking easy. I still had cravings, and I had to resist. And every single time a craving would come in, I would say, never again. Never again. Remember in one of the early episodes I talked about don't entertain the thought? That was the trick. But I wasn't saying don't entertain the thought. I just never again. Just as soon as it comes knocking, never again. You know what I mean? That's just immediately. I'm not entertaining this thought for 1 second, not even half a second. Never again. You can say that in half a second. Never again. That fucking fast, and actively distract myself. And I was depressed for about 4 or 5 weeks. 2 weeks into that, me and my partner split up. And never again. And then about finally 5 weeks later, I'm free. I'm not depressed anymore, and I'm not what is it? I'm not depressed anymore, and I'm not craving it anymore. And I walk out on the path, and I say to Addict, I say, hey bro, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Without you, I couldn't have got here. He said, it's my pleasure, Tommy. I said, and what about you, man? Like, the rest of us are all so much happier. We're free. We're not even thinking about it anymore. We go on our morning walks. We're not even talking about the fact we've given up. Like, life is so much better for us. But how are you? Like, are you feeling neglected? Are you feeling like you're missing out? And he goes, no, life's better for me too. Life's way better for me too. I'm stoked we did this. This is awesome for me as well. Like, I'm enjoying life more. And I'm like, fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. Awesome. I love you. He's like, yeah. And he goes, but you know who I am, right? I go, yeah, you're Addict. And he goes, you know what my role is, right? And I go, what? He goes, it's my job to ask for more. So I'm always going to ask for more. Of everything. Just so you know. And I was like, right. Thank you. Thank you. Because it's your fucking job to tell me when to stop. Don't put that on me. That's your responsibility, Tom. I was like, I get it. I fucking get it. I get it, and I fucking love you, man. We know our roles. Now, I don't want to go to 34 minutes, because then I'd have 3 clips to splice. It's going to be a very quick freestyle. When the daylight come, I'ma write these rhymes for Zion, yes. I'ma write these rhymes for Zion, yes. When the daylight come, Tabaquito, you ride with me high in the night to Zion. You ride with me high in the night to Zion. Mapacho, you give me the love of Zion, yes. And I'ma blow your smoke on the healing pin. Now I'ma waft the smoke on the healing pin. But I'ma never be bound to my mouth and through my nose. Through my mouth and through my nose. Get the scent of you on my clothes. That's the medicine you chose. I suppose that it smells like a rose when you come to the temple space. And I'ma get this taste. And by God's grace, the physical has been replaced. Have a beautiful day, folks. Don't do drugs.